He's the best player we're watching right now. And I think we all know who the best player in the NBA is. We don't have to say it.
James Harden.
But he's playing the best out of all the stars right now. He's bypassed all the MVP candidates with their ability to win, to move up into the 4th seed. They're one game from they're one game behind Golden State. They're 2 games behind OKC. They're trending in the right direction to be at the top of the Western Conference. He's leading at the we're approaching the halfway point of the season. And right now, we would say over this 11, 12-game stretch, he's leading the MVP race.
Listen, he's great. He's offensively, he's awesome. Like, it's one thing that I hate about MVP races, the Heisman Trophy, all this stuff. We just give it to the best offensive player. He's clearly not the best player in the NBA. Clearly, it's LeBron James. I mean, you watch LeBron James, he can run the point, he can play, he can play in the backcourt, he can play in the front court, he can, I mean, defensively, he can get into lanes, he can create rebounds, he can tip the ball, he can create fast break points. I mean, he's clearly the best player. James Harden is just clearly playing great offense right now. He's not the best player.
See how I had James Harden fed it to him, so I ain't have to say it, because if I say it, then you guys say it.
You're LeBron's guy.
I'm biased, but you see how I dished that to him and set him up to say what is on everybody's tongue. He's doing his job. He's scoring at a high level. He's assisting at a high level, but we know what his deficiencies are. But he's leading his team to victories. That's what he's supposed to do. He's not supposed to do those other things.
He's the best player in the NBA right now. I'm sorry. I mean, that's the easy answer. LeBron James is the easy answer, but he's not the best player in the NBA right now.
It's like saying that a quarterback is the best player in the NFL. Aaron Donald's the best player in the NFL. Who's going to win the MVP? It's going to be a quarterback. It's going to be Mahomes, right? I mean, to me, the best pure player, there is no question. If you polled 100 NBA guys, unless they play for the Rockets, everyone would tell you that the best player is LeBron James.
You know what I wish would happen in this game that we're watching right now? That the best players, the MVP candidates, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard,
Steph Curry,
Paul George, James Harden, LeBron James would all guard each other. If they guarded each other on a 48-minute basis, then send somebody else to do it, it would be a spectacle, because you would watch them defend. They would get the benefit of the doubt on the whistle. You wouldn't get so many calls that James gets, because they're not going to foul LeBron James out. They're not going to give him the ticky-tack that they give to the role players. It would be a different event to watch. I wish there would be more head-to-head like it used to be back in the day, head-to-head matchups, because all these guys are 6'6" to 6'9". They can guard each other. They choose not to sometimes, but I wish that would happen so we could duke it out and find out who is the and show who's the best. Because if you valued it like that, come on now, fellas.
I mean, he's unguardable right now, right? We can agree on that. He was phenomenal last night. Major props to Harden. Great game, by the way. But it was an island game. There was nothing else going on in the sports world last night. So everybody obviously watches that. Harden is the best.
It's a big Western Conference game.
It was a big game, but it's January, Dahntay. You played in the league. What happens in January has no bearing on an MVP race, on what's going to happen in the playoffs. Like, I just don't put too much stock.
I disagree.
I totally disagree.
Oh, so now what, you think
when you have Western Conference rivals that may see each other down the line, those games are different than a normal January game. When Houston sees Golden State, because they had the Western Conference Finals duel, when Houston thinks they're the better team and they should have won if CP didn't get hurt, they take that seriously like a playoff game. And I don't think Steph Curry was going into lax like, you know what, this is a game that we don't have to.
No, it doesn't work like that.
But here's trying to figure out, get their stuff together.
Here's what works for me, though, in the MVP, if you want to make the MVP case. And obviously, you look at these last 12 games, the run that he has been on, and you look at the situation where he was asked to, hey, right now, you've got to lead us. You have got to take it to the next level because we're down CP3. That's when all of a sudden the voters care about January games, right? Because that's where the MVP stuff. When guys go down, I look at teams with injuries. When injuries happen, what happened when LeBron went out? The Lakers went from the 4th seed down to the 8th seed, right? Nobody could carry them. Hey, if Ball could have carried them through that, you would have all of a sudden said, hey, man, Ball is actually playing. He's got more value than we credited him with.
And I know we got to move on from this, but that's where that MVP trophy is kind of a little sketchy to me. I think he's obviously the most valuable player, because with his play, they move from the way he's playing over the 12 games, they move from 14 to 4, and 1 game out of 3 and 2 games out of 2. LeBron James, he gets hurt, they go from 4 to the bottom of the Western Conference playoff race. Like, you see players that go out and they change the trajectory of the team. That's an MVP, the most valuable player to his team, not a team that's at the top, that's winning, that's a well-oiled machine.
If you go by that, it's LeBron every year, though, Dahntay.
Okay,
I don't have
so
a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that.
Dahntay, do they look vulnerable in your mind?
They do. They look like they're not playing with the same fervor. They look like the same chemistry, the same cohesiveness. They look like a team that's trying to find their roles and not trying to step on other people's toes. They have some deficiencies right now with their bigs. They're young. They're not as skilled as they're used to having. Their bench is getting a little bit older, and they don't have as many options on their bench to go to when the big three is kind of going through the motions a little bit, to kind of push them a little bit or to kind of keep the tempo going. They don't look like the same team, and now they're putting all that stress coming in on Boogie Cousins coming back. And I don't think that's fair because they don't have the interior presence of defense as they normally do, and he's not a defender. So where do they go from this? Do they try to keep outscoring you? Yeah, it looks like they're an amazing scoring team, and they are. But what they have been hanging their hats over the years is defense.
Yes.
They've been the best defensive team. They switch. They have people that can contain you. And right now, they're just not doing their job. The best defensive team in the league cannot lose a 20-point lead early in the third quarter and lose a game like that on their home court. And you get scared because you get scared of their third quarter runs and how they finish out games, and teams are not scared of them right now.
You said it best with the defense. I don't think that they're vulnerable. I just think they're not imposing the fear into other teams as they did the last two seasons, and other teams are getting so much more confident going into Golden State, going into Oracle, and playing against this team. But when you talk about defense, 2 years ago, you're second in defense, then last year you slipped to 11, and now this year you're 15th. And a part of that is because athletically, you lose a guy like JaVale McGee. We may joke about JaVale McGee, but his athletic ability, his length, his ability to defend at the perimeter and get back and recover and help, they miss that. And they don't have guys like that coming off the bench that understand their role. I like other teams now with what they're doing against.
Don't be a prisoner of the moment, guys.
You're absolutely correct.
Just relax on this, okay? As you said, Boogie Cousins will be coming back. But we saw the Warriors when their backs were against the wall in that series against the Rockets. Down 11 on the road, Game 7. Were they rattled at all? Were they nervous? No. They made shots. The Rockets missed shots. The only thing I'll give you guys here is the cloud over Kevin Durant, which LeBron had the cloud in Cleveland last year. Everybody knew he was probably leaving. If you watch closely down the stretch, what I didn't like from the Warriors, and I know Curry and Durant, they watch a lot of these shows, it was a lot of ISO. It was a lot of, okay, it's my turn. No, it's your turn. And it wasn't true Warriors basketball. And I do wonder if some of that Kevin Durant stuff's starting to weigh on them. When you watch how that offense operates late, it's not real Warriors.
I'm not concerned when it comes May. Their season doesn't start until April or May. That's how I look at the Warriors right now. I think the biggest issue, and, I was on a team that in 96 won 13 games, in 97 won 12 games in a world championship, and 98 won 14 games in a world championship. And you know what the biggest thing you have to guard against? Boredom. When you're that good, you have to guard against boredom. And when you play that many games and you have that much physical wear and tear on your body, it's hard, especially early, to get hyped when you've been a multiple champion. And so to me, you have to weather the storm through January and February and March, and you get into April and you start to get some of that juice back. I think they'll come together. I worry about the flip the switch mentality, but in the NBA, with the athletes they have and the shooters they have, I think they can flip that switch.
Complacency was always something they were going to have to fight throughout the course of their season. However, you can never underestimate the heart of a champion. They know what it takes to get it done. They've done it back-to-back. They've done it 3 times. They can get it done. However, the part that they've been great at over the past years and why there's a chink in their armor right now, they seem a little vulnerable, is because they build habits throughout the course of the season, and that train just keeps moving on an upward trend. Right now, it's not that same upward trend. So while it seems a little bit there's the vulnerability right now, because they're not building those habits that carry them in the playoffs.